I think it's about to start. Okay. Okay. Very good afternoon to you, Aditi.
Good afternoon, sir.
And so today we are going to do a mock interview, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
again, so I would like you to start with your introduction first. Tell me something about yourself because we have not interacted earlier, right? Even
Yes.
as I think all your sessions have been taken by uh, mm, who has
Only
been
two lectures were taken by you, sir.
yeah. So most of them have been taken by Mumbai branch, right? So
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Uh, okay.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Aditi Artekar and I'm from Chinswad, Pune. I am currently pursuing a course of advanced postgraduate diploma in pharmacovigilance from Cliniminds, and I have completed my graduation in BHMS from Lokmanya Homeopathic Medical College, Nashik University, and with the 1 year of internship where we were posted to different departments, and along with academics I have done my uh, to gain experience I have gone to a private clinic for 1.5 year, and about my technical skills I know about the MS PowerPoint, MS Word, and MS Excel. And about my strength, it is that I'm sincere, honest, hardworking, punctual. And about my weakness, it is that for me it is uncomfortable if I don't complete my job within the time, and I feel that this is not for that is I satisfied. If I'm not satisfied with what my work, I feel uncomfortable. And other than the academics I have also an for participating in the extracurricular activities or any competitive exams. Also
Right.
i have uh, I have hosted some events in the college, like cultural sports events, and about my hobbies, I like to listen the songs or the watch movies which are based on the true stories or of a our real heroes, like the latest movie Shirsha. I would like to watch that movie, and that's all from my side.
Okay. And so your hobbies are, you said, on watching movies as well. You're fond of watching movies, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And listening music.
Hmm. Okay.
That
And
will help.
what
That
about
will
your interests in the field of drug safety or pharmacovigilance? What is it that interests you more? So
uh,
what?
Sir, actually, during my graduation of homeopathy, we were taught to be that due to the allopathic medicines, there are side effects. So, as I come to know about the pharmacovigilance, I get to interest that what are the side effects and how we should know about that. So that's what I interest in. That what are the side effects of the any drug, and how there is a mechanism about and how they are handled. This is my interest.
Okay. And what do you understand by pharmacovigilance when I asked you about your interest in drug safety? So what is pharmacovigilance according to you, and how is it important?
The pharmacovigilance is the for according to me, it is the process of detection, assessment, and understanding and prevention of the adverse drug reactions and other drug related problems. And it is important because in the clinical trial there is not a complete safety data in a clinical trial or preclinical trial, because there are specific population under which the trials are conducted, and under the specific groups, under the specific conditions. So pharmacovigilance is important to get to know what is the real effect of the medicines in all over the population, whether what are the interactions with the drugs, what are the other side effects, if there are any comorbidities happen. Also pharmacovigilance is important because the adverse reactions which happens are expensive, and that also caused a more expensiveness on the hospitalization. Also, for the correct use of the medicines in a proper way, there is need of pharmacovigilance. And also for there is many times it is that peoples are unknown about how to deal with the adverse reactions, where to report. So to give awareness about, there is a need of pharmacovigilance.
Hmm. Okay. You said it for the awareness we need pharmacovigilance,
Vigilance
right?
training, yeah.
Right. But one thing that I wanted to ask you, when you said that it is a process of detection and assessment, will it not involve some kind of activities as part of that process? And can we also call it as a science?
Yes,
Or
it is the science and the activities for the detection, assessment, understanding and prevention of the adverse drug reactions and other drug related problems.
hmm. Okay, when you say adverse drug reactions, well, how is it different from an event? What is an adverse event? What is an adverse drug reaction? How
Uh,
are they different?
Sir, adverse drug event, it is any untoward medical occurrence of the medical occurrence in the patient or investigational subject during this treatment with the medicinal product or pharmaceutical product, and which doesn't necessarily have a causal relationship with this treatment. But in the adverse drug reaction, it is a drug response which is noxious and uh, unintended, and that occurs at the dose which is normally used in men for diagnosis, prophylaxis, therapy of the disease, and for modification. So it is the causal relationship between the adverse event and adverse drug reactions which makes the difference. If it is an adverse event, it might be that there may be a causal relationship or not. But if it is adverse event, there is a causal relationship between the drug and event.
Very rightly said. Okay, so what are the examples if I say for an adverse event? How you would say an event is different from a reaction? Any idea how we what we can call as an event? Will you call something that you take after the medicine and say I take a medicine and after that my hairs start to fall, right? So will it be a event or a reaction?
Sir, if it is uh, it is that if there is a relationship between the uh, drug taken and the event, which might be suspected or it might be confirmed, then it is an
Hmm.
adverse drug reaction. If there is a no relationship between the drug taken and event, then it is adverse event.
Right. Very good. Okay. So then once we know, okay, a event is there or a reaction is there, how do we consider a individual case, like you said, adverse reaction? So what individual case do we consider for reporting to the authority? What is the criteria for minimum reporting criteria for a case, for a ICSR as you call it, or individual case safety report?
For ICSR to be valid to report the regulatory authority, there should be identifiable patient, identifiable and contactable reporter. There should be an suspect drug, and there should be an adverse event.
Hmm. Okay. And what do you mean by identifiable patient? So what exactly stands for identifiable patient?
For identifiable patient, there should be name, age, gender of the patient, so that we can identify or the classify the differentiate one patient from the another patient. That the report which we get is for this patient. What the
Hmm.
information about the patient?
Can we also call it as a demographic detail?
Yes, sir. It is the demographic details of the
The
patient.
demographic detail, right? So when we do not know the age of the person, suppose we do not know the exact age, so is it okay if we know the age group? Will
Yes,
that be
sir.
an identifier?
It is identifiable.
It is an identifier. Okay. And what else you said? Can we use the age group also of that person? So if I do not know maybe the exact age, but I know that he is from 30 to 35-year old.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. We can consider a age group if we don't know about the exact age of the patient.
Hmm. Okay, good. Right. And so once you have known, okay, now you have all the four identifiers, then which cases are expedited to the authority from a trial, from a clinical study? Which
Uh, Sir,
which cases do we expedite?
sir, the cases which are classified for the that is serious unexpected event which are result in a death or life threatening, that has to be reported to the regulatory authority within the 7 days after we receive the information, that is the day 0. And for the other seriousness serious criteria for the event, that should be reported to the regulatory authority within the 15 days after we receive information, that is on day 0.
Okay.
And
And
that are the calendar days, 7
hmm,
calendar days.
when you said seriousness criteria, so is that the only criteria for expediting a case? Or do we look at anything else to expedite? So seriousness is one criteria, but do we also check for other things?
Sir, for expeditedness, it is the serious and unexpected adverse drug reactions.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay. And what is the other name for the clinical trial cases? What else can we call it? Can we call it a sponsored or spontaneous or
So
uh,
these are non serious cases.
so clinical trial cases that you get, what do we call them? Do we call them spontaneous cases? Do we call them sponsored cases? Do
These
we
are
call
the
them regulatory authority cases? What are these cases?
solicited reporting cases.
Solicited cases, very good. Okay. So in the solicited cases, again, we are looking for what you said, serious and unexpected cases, right? And also, do we look at the relationship in US and Europe?
So, sorry, I didn't get
Do
the
we also look at the relationship of the drug with the event in US and in Europe?
so, along with serious suspect and serious and unexpected, there is a causality relationship with the causality relationship which is required. But
Hmm. Hmm. So that is the suspected, what you were saying, right? Causality association
yes,
is
sir.
again called as suspected, right?
Yes, sir.
So serious, unexpected, suspected adverse reaction, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now we have discussed on the seriousness criterias. You mentioned the first two, like the death and life-threatening, are the ones where you need 7 days, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what are the other days? Like what are the other cases that are reported in 15 days?
That
Serious.
that are the where there is a required hospitalization, or there is an extension of prolongation of existing hospitalization.
Hmm.
Also, there are persistent and there is a significant and persistent disability or incapacity, or there might be a birth defect or congenital anomaly, and other medically important events are considered in the other serious criteria.
Right. Okay, good. And so, other than this, what are the guidelines covering the reporting of serious adverse reactions, say from spontaneous cases? So we have talked of the clinical trial cases. Now, in the spontaneous cases, what is the timeline for expedited reporting?
The timeline for expedited reporting for the in the after not other than clinical trials for the expedited spontaneous report, it is a 15 days from the receiving information, that is 0.
Hmm. Okay. 15 calendar days, right?
Yes sir, 15
Yeah.
calendar
Hmm.
days.
Okay. And so, what is day zero when you say what is day zero according to you?
Day zero, it is a date from which the actual calculation is done for the days to calculate the duration for to report about the expedited report to the regulatory authority.
Hmm. Okay. And so, when does it start? Who will start this clock, this regulatory timeline? How is it decided?
At the on the day on which we have received the information about the adverse drug reaction, which is serious, suspected, and unexpected, that day is considered as a day zero.
Right. Okay. Good. Good. So, and why do you want to pursue your career in pharmacovigilance?
Sir, as I say that during our academics, there is always all persons says that related to homeopathy, that there is side effects. So that is in my mind. How what are the side effects? Because during my education, there is no such a any topics which is related to pharmacology. So that is in my mind, and in the during the internship I was searching what I can do other than practice, or along with the if I choose practice, then along with that, is there is anything. So at that time I came across the pharmacovigilance course, and because of that, something in my mind about the what are the reactions, what happen, and what does happen with that afterwards. So that gives me to thought that I should do this,
Okay.
and that increases my interest.
Hmm. Okay, good, good. Okay, I think that's it for now, Aditi. And I feel that again, you should follow your heart and you should pursue what you are keen on doing. So, all the best to you for your future endeavors, right? And for
Thank
now,
you,
you
sir.
can then log off. I will now allow another student, right?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, hello. Annie, can you hear me? Hello. And Annie, I can't hear you. I think you're.
Yes,
Mm,
sir.
yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Annie. So, can you please introduce yourself to me? Tell me about your background, your interests on pharmacovigilance. Why are you looking for a career? So, just a brief introduction.
Yes, sir. So I'm Dr. Annie Coelho. I've done BHMS in 2007. Then I have done a post-graduation diploma in emergency medical services. Followed, I have done BLS, ACLS, and I was a healthcare provider also.
Mhm.
And my interest in PV was generated by my aunt, who is right now like she's a director in Home Nurses for You. She's
Okay.
conducting it is a site management organization. So she
Okay.
was the one, if you're not interested in medical, come, if you want to join non-medical, if you're tired of medical, join something this. So she was the one who gave me an interest in this, like seeing her working on it.
Okay, okay, fair enough. And so, what do you feel that is it right option, career option for people who are in, medics or paramedics? And why does it interest you so much? One thing is that you've been introduced by your family member,
Yes,
but
sir.
then why does it interest you? What is your area of interest in pharmacovigilance?
So like I didn't had any technology knowledge. It was always medicinal because I had three and a half year of experience in in medical line. But when it comes to this reporting, and especially the safety, the adverse reactions, when I see in the hospitals, they're very limited, limited, like related to some antibiotics or those things, and
Hmm.
giving immediate treatment. So my so I'm so much into medical, and then like entering and into clinical research was my like new area of getting knowledge.
Okay. Okay. And so, what would you say is pharmacovigilance? Why are we doing it? What is the purpose of doing pharmacovigilance?
So when we see into definition, the pharmacovigilance is the science and activity which is related to the assessment, detection, prevention of the adverse effects related to a medicinal product which is being administered. And when it comes to purpose, the purpose of pharmacovigilance is that it is for the safe use of medicinal product in public, after like during after the product is marketed. So for reporting the adverse drug reactions or adverse events of the medicinal products.
Okay. Okay. And so, what is the difference between an adverse drug reaction and an event?
Okay, so adverse event is an untoward medical occurrence where in a patient when a medicinal product is administered, and they experience side effects of the medicinal product, but they are not causally related. It may or may not be causally related with the drug product. And when it comes to adverse reaction, it's a response which is noxious and unintended when given to the patient at normal doses. Uh, uh, when used in humans, they'll have this uh, for prophylaxis or for therapy of a disease or for any modification of the physiological functions.
Hmm. Right. And so, what are the examples when I say of, say, an adverse event? What could be an example of a event? Do you feel that uh, I have taken a medicine, and after that, after a point of time, I start to have hair loss? Right
Yes,
now,
sir.
will it be a event or a reaction based on the report that I give you? So if I say I took the medicine and I had a hair fall after this, right, and
Yes,
I was already taking many other drugs, like I had some past history of hair fall, okay, but my hair fall increased when I started to take this medicine. I have also been taking minoxidil. Uh, after taking this medicine, my hair fall suddenly increased, and now I feel more bald than earlier. Okay. Now, if you have such a report, would you call it a event or a reaction?
so it's an event.
It is a event.
Yes,
And
sir.
what could be our basis for that?
So actually, he had this past history. He or she had the past history of hair fall. He was taking minoxidil for it,
Hmm.
and maybe minoxidil must not be working,
Right. Right. Hmm.
and
Yeah.
therefore he
So,
became
so
bald.
we are not sure. We are still not sure of the causality because there is
Yes,
an
yes,
underlying disease condition,
yes, sir.
and there is the past drug therapy. Patient has been taking drug therapy for that condition already. We do not know if it is a progression of the underlying disease or it
Yes, sir.
is a issue that is caused with this medicine.
Yes, sir.
So, unless we are able to attribute it to our drug, we don't call it a reaction.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. Okay. And so once we have this reaction and we know a reporter, so what are the criteria when we say for an individual case? Now, we also call it as ICSR.
Yes,
What
sir.
does ICSR stand for?
Individual case safety report.
Individual case safety report. And what is the validity criteria for that?
So the validity criteria are four: an identifiable patient, a contactable reporter, which can also be an identifiable suspect drug, and an identifiable adverse event or a reaction.
Hmm. Okay, good, good. And what are the expedited criteria for reporting of an event?
So the
Of
expedited
a,
criteria are seriousness, unexpected,
hmm.
uh, uh,
Are we also looking at the relationship of the drug in some part of the world?
So I didn't get you the. So
For
can you just?
expeditedness, for
Yes.
expediting the case, are you also looking at the relationship?
No, sir, not exactly.
Not exactly. But are there any countries where we do expedited reporting of cases and you need to also check the relationship?
Yes,
Otherwise,
sir.
you cannot report.
Yes, sir.
Which countries are those?
So European,
Europe, yes.
then Japan,
Japan,
U
US, yes.
US.
Okay, very good. And so, do you think that India also requires causality assessment to report the case?
Yes, sir. It does
So
need.
we need to report only reactions, or is it that we are reporting even events?
So we are reporting even events as well as the reaction, but the causality has to be like it has to be maintained so that it is easy for us to relate to the drug.
Yeah, but the requirement says that we need to report events. We are not really,
Yes,
the
sir.
authority is not bothered about
For for the
the
reaction, causal real.
causal relationship.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And other than that, so once you have the expedited reports, what do you do with them? Are we processing them? How do we analyze them together? So what is an aggregate report, if you are aware?
So aggregate report is a kind of reporting in which we do the expectedness of the case. We report in like
Mhm.
we just collect all the individual of
Case
an
safety
individual
reports.
cases, and
Mhm.
we like code into a terminology which is clinically validated in medra
Mhm.
international,
Mhm.
which is
Okay.
internationally validated.
So aggregate reports are of how many types? Which all aggregate reports do you have?
So PEBRAR,
PEBRA.
that is
PEBRA stands for.
periodic benefit risk evaluation report,
Hmm.
and
And
periodic safety update report.
that is the PSUR, which
Yes.
is it still applicable? Are we still submitting PSURs?
No, sir.
So we are submitting PBRER. But in
Yes.
Europe, do they call it as a PBRER or they call it as a PSUR?
So they call it as PSUR.
Hmm. Okay. And like I said, so what is an aggregate report? So aggregate report, is it any time or is it a defined period?
So it is for a defined period.
Hmm. Right. Okay. And the defined period you said, so for marketed products, you told me PSUR, PBRER.
Yes, sir.
What about the trial products?
So trial products can be reported at any time. They are reported at any time during the clinical trial period, and even after post marketing, they can be reported. And DSUR, especially DSUR, is for clinical trial, that is development safety update report.
Yes, very good. Right. So the development safety update report is what you receive at the time of the development phase.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I think that's it for now, Annie. And thank you for your time. I believe that uh, you are doing good progress in preparation. And I would again recommend you to, again go through thoroughly
Yes.
on the concepts, whatever are required for pharmacovigilance. You're clear on the basics, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
I wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you
Right.
so much. Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir. Yeah,
And
thank you.
we'll connect many times soon. Okay. So
Yes,
that's it
sir.
for now. I think next student has joined me now.
Yes, sir.
Namrata is there. Okay. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You can log off now. Yeah. Hi, Namrata. Am I audible to you?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Namita. Could you please turn on your camera? Okay. There is a back source, a light source. I think you're sitting against the light, so uh, maybe your position is just
Actually,
behind the, yeah.
actually, sir,
Just move a
there
bit
was a
away from
problem.
the, yeah, yeah. No, I think behind you there's a light source
Yes,
from
just
where, yeah, it is giving a glare on the camera.
yes, yes. Wait.
Okay. So if you put a background, it would be fine if you can do that, or else just move a bit away from the source, light source.
Is it fine now, sir?
Yes, much better. Okay. Okay, thank you, Namrata. And so let's start the session today. Uh, I would want you to introduce yourself. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your background. Why are you interested in pharmacovigilance? What are you doing right now? What is your experience, right? And your interests. So why are you interested in a career in pharmacovigilance?
Yes, sir. First of all, myself, Namrata Santosh Patil, completed B.Pharm in 2019. Currently working in Tata Memorial Hospital and previously working with MedLife International Private Limited. So I joined this course because of there is a more scope for research nowadays, and
Hmm.
I'm interested in research because of that.
Okay, good. Good. So you are interested in research, and that is one of the reasons. But what is the purpose of pharmacovigilance? Why do we do that? What would be the benefit of doing this?
Vigilance, got finance,
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Namrita, I couldn't hear you. If you could repeat yourself.
yes. Sir, pharmacovigilance is interrelated to clinical research, and it includes pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic of parts of the. So it is
Hmm.
the both subjects are interlinked.
Yes. Okay. So basically, the need for pharmacovigilance. What is the need for pharmacovigilance then? Why do we need it? Does it help if I know about a reaction? How will it help me if I know about a reaction and what could be the effect with a drug? Will it be of any use to me if I know about it already?
It is used because it can. Am I audible, sir?
No, I think your voice was breaking up. I don't know if this is the issue at your end with the connectivity. Uh,
Your voice is also breaking. I don't know.
hmm. Okay, have you joined from your Wi-Fi or is it
Yes, yes. No, it's Wi-Fi.
mobile not Wi-Fi? Okay. Uh, right. So I was asking you again. Let me phrase it in a different way. So what will be the purpose of doing pharmacovigilance? Is it that it will in some way benefit people if you know about a reaction, or we are just doing it because it is a requirement?
Uh, like it is useful because to know about the drug information like their absorption, metabolism, and other parts, uh, as well as the legal part also about like there are many terms
Hmm.
parts like legal part.
Right. Okay. So legally, yes, legally it's a requirement. Plus, you also need it. Krishna, can you please join in another 2-3 minutes? I'm still continuing with.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, Namrata. Okay, let's continue. So I was saying, yes, legally it is important, but apart from that, is it not a requirement that for purposes of safety, it will, if I know a risk, I can manage it in a better way. I can put risk minimization activities. I can also define in my label if there is a risk related to a drug. So that will help the clinician and the patients to take their decision. Yes or
Right,
no?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yes. Now, once you know of the reaction, when once you know of a ADR, what is the difference between a ADR and an event? Quickly. So, what do we call a reaction? What do we call a event? How are they different?
Adverse drug reaction is like happen due to some drug.
Mhm.
That can be like a small reaction like
Mhm.
fever, vomiting,
Mhm.
and events are related to like any drug reaction which is like caused due, which will cause um, serious events like death.
So again, what is the difference between the two? I believe that, let me remind you, event is something where there is or may not be a relationship. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. And in the reaction, you will have a causal relationship. Only then you call it a reaction. Unless you have that, it will fall in the category of a event, which is an untoward occurrence. Yes.
yes,
So any untoward occurrence that happens post the usage of a drug, again, for the purposes of either prophylaxis or therapy, yes, or it could be for diagnosis or any modification of the physiological function. Yes,
yes,
yes or no?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So once you know of the causality, so what are the methods that we can use for causal association? What are the various methods possible
For adverse drug reaction management,
for causal association? How do you do assessment, causality assessment? What are the scales that you use commonly? Most commonly used scales for grading ADRs.
uh, mild drug adverse
So
drug
that,
reaction.
that is again mild, moderate, severe is the severity criteria. I am asking you, what are the causality assessment criteria or the scales used? So there is one categorization like probable, possible, likely, unlikely. Have you heard of that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, you have.
Yes.
Yes, Namrata. So, is it a part of any scaling system? Does it have any algorithm? Are you aware of that?
Actually, no, sir.
Okay. So, remember that WHO UMC criteria, we have covered that in the causal relationship. Yes. Yes, Namrata.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, remember that causal relationship is always, whenever somebody is saying, what are the criteria for causal relationship? So those can be either global introspection, which is just your clinical judgment. Okay. As a healthcare professional, when you apply your own clinical judgment, so that will be a global introspection criteria. Otherwise, the most commonly used criteria is the WHO, World Health Organization, Uppsala Monitoring Center, UMC criteria. Okay, so that categorizes the events into all these categories that I was telling you, like unclassifiable, then doubtful, and maybe possible, probable, definite. Yes. So
Yes,
these are
yes,
the categorizations. Also, there is another widely used algorithm called as Naranjo scale. Have you heard of it?
no,
Naranjo
sir.
scale. Yeah. So there are some shortcomings for Naranjo scale. Are you aware of that?
No, sir. Actually.
No. Okay. So Naranjo scale again, why do we need it? Is because it is giving a uniform result. Now WHO UMC criteria, like I told you, relies on your judgment as a clinician. Okay. So when the doctor reviews a case, or a physician or a pharmacist, whoever will review that case, will look at the basis. Okay, was there a positive D challenge? Was there a positive re-challenge? Okay. So what is the concept of challenge? Are you aware of that? Re-challenge and D-challenge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So challenge is when you give the drug to the patient, and when we are stopping that drug after the appearance of the event. Okay. When you stop a drug and the event also stops, so then it is called as a positive D
Positive
challenge.
D
Yeah.
challenge.
And when you again give the drug and the event again appears, so it is called as the positive
Re-challenge.
re-challenge. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, in WHO UMC criteria, we are using this basis of de-challenge, re-challenge, of the underlying disease condition, of whether there is a existing disease which could have contributed, right? Okay. So these are the bases that we look at when we are doing the causal relationship, right? Now, which cases do we expedite? Which cases are expedited to the authority? Yes, Namrata? Expeditedness. That you need to report urgently to the authority as you get to know. Are there any
Uh,
cases?
yes. Severe cases.
Can you be a loud, bit loud?
Severe cases like that that will cause like severe issues.
Severe issues. Do we call it as serious cases?
Yes, serious cases.
Serious cases. Okay. Now, in US and Europe, what is the requirement? Do we report events or do we report reactions?
We report reaction.
We report reactions. Yes. So there is a requirement for SUSARs. Yes.
Yes.
What does SUSAR stand for? Suspected. Yes. Suspected, unexpected,
Suspected, unexpected, serious adverse reactions.
adverse reactions. So you are required to report suspected events and the unexpected events and serious adverse reactions, right? Okay, so the criteria, all the three criteria have to be met. That means suspectedness, that is causal relationship, right? Then
Right.
expectedness, whether it was known already or it is a new event,
Mm.
right? And seriousness. So what are the seriousness criteria? How a event is considered serious? Does it
Like
involve, yeah, involve death?
yes,
Okay, then what else? Death and life
uh,
threatening.
life threatening, which
Mhm.
will need hospitalization.
And what is the timeline for these SUSARs, which are death and life threatening events? Is it how many calendar days? It is 15, 10, 7.
7 calendar days.
Okay, 7 calendar days, but these are for spontaneous cases. Yeah. Sorry, for the solicited cases or the trial cases. For spontaneous, you have 15 calendar days, and they don't differentiate between the fatal life threatening and the other serious events. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Okay. And what are aggregate reports? Quickly. What are aggregate reports? PSURs.
No, sir. I don't
Do
know.
you know about PSUR? Periodic Safety Update Report. No, Namrata. I would recommend that. Okay, I think we've had a lot of time spent on this. Go through these topics once more for your brush up your, topics on causality assessment. Then you have to look for the seriousness criterias. Okay, look for what are aggregate reports. Aggregate reports, what are the type of aggregate reports? Like in trial phase you have different set of reports, for marketed phase you have different reports. Okay, so go through these, and we will continue, our round of discussions ahead also. Again, I would want you to put more efforts and more, thought into these topics. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. All the best to you, and I wish you all the best. And try to understand the concepts of causality and of these reported, criterias. That is important. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Navata. You can now log
Thank you,
off.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Krishna, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Krishna. Just 1 second, Preeti. Can you please log in after 5 minutes? I need to spend time with Krishna.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So after this, you can join. Okay. Thank you, Krishna. And Krishna, can you quickly introduce yourself? Tell me about your background, your interest in pharmacovigilance. Why are you pursuing this course? Why do you want to enter into the pharmacovigilance field? And what do you think is the use? Why are we doing pharmacovigilance?
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Krishna Murlidas Radkar. I am from Aurangabad, Maharashtra. I have completed my B Pharmacy from Sri Bhagwan College of Pharmacy in Aurangabad in 2018. I was previously working in a Gates Healthcare Solution as a medical coder. I was worked there for a 1.5 year. After that, I think that the medical coding was getting most of the auto coded, that is artificial intelligence is there, so there was no future scope. Then I heard about the pharmacovigilance and clinical research. In
Hmm.
this we study about the new drugs. It helps in the introducing new drugs in the market, vaccines and all the biological products which are beneficial for the human beings. And by this way I can contribute my 4 years of graduation and knowledge in the well-being of the peoples.
Hmm.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
good. Yeah, that is a very good thing to say. It is definitely going to contribute. And one thing that I wanted to ask you is
Yes, sir.
how you said beneficial is pharmacovigilance then. So you can contribute definitely, but how does it contribute to the safety? What is the benefit? Why are we doing pharmacovigilance?
The pharmacovigilance is basically used for the checking the adverse drugs reactions and any adverse reaction caused by the vaccines, biological products. In this pharmacovigilance, we study the drugs and the adverse reaction. We report that adverse reaction to the various regulatory authorities and
Hmm.
company personnel so that they can improve the quality of that product, so no one going to die due to the side effects.
Hmm. Yes. And is it right to say that unless we know the risks, we cannot handle them?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So will it also be beneficial if we report the events or issues in time so as to act on it? Yes, it will
Yes,
give
sir.
enough time for the regulatory authorities to act. It will also give time for the companies to act, and it will help in decision making of the clinician and the patients.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now, what is the difference between a reaction and an event? When we say adverse event or a or a adverse reaction?
An adverse
How
event
did
is an untoward medical event that does not causally have a relationship with the drugs.
yeah.
And in the adverse reaction, it is also untoward event in which the causal relationship with the drug.
Hmm. Okay, so in the reaction there is a causal relationship, whereas in the event we
There
may
is
or
no
may
causal
not have
relation.
a. Okay, so if I take an example that I was taking, say, a medicine and I had a reaction that I was already on minoxidil for some time. Okay,
Okay.
and I started taking this antibiotic, and now suddenly my hairs are starting to fall more. Okay, I am having more hair loss. Again, I've taken this medicine for around 4 days. After that, I stopped the medication, so my hair loss reduced. Yes, my hair
Yes.
loss reduced. And then I stopped the use of that medication. I did not take it again. I went to my doctor. He said, don't take it again. So I did not take it again. Now, this case that you have heard of, will you call it a reaction or a event?
It is an adverse reaction, sir. Because
And
when
what
you
is the
start
basis?
using the drug, when you start using the drug, you start following you're starting falling your hairs. After you
Hmm.
stop the drug, there is a reduction in the falling of the hairs. So it
Hmm.
basically caused due to that drug.
Hmm. So there is a positive D challenge.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Again,
Yeah.
what is the concept of re-challenge? Is the re-challenge
Uh,
positive or negative in this case?
uh, this case is a negative re-challenge.
Hmm. Because he is not even given that drug. It's not even negative. It is, you would say that it is
Not a
not there.
re-challenge also.
Yeah, it is
Yes,
not a
sir.
re-challenge because the patient was never given the drug again. The doctor
Yeah.
did not prescribe it again. Okay, good.
Yes.
And so now we have covered this concept of re-challenge and de-challenge. So individual cases, what are the cases that you need to expedite? What is the expedited requirement? Which cases do
Uh,
you need to expeditedly
for
submit?
the expedited, there are three main criteria for the expedited. When you have a suspected unexpected reaction, you can expedite that first. Then you have a serious unexpected. Then you have expected serious. Then you give second criteria, and non-serious. You uh, cover that and post it to the regulatory authority at the last.
Hmm. So that means we are looking at the relationship, we are looking at the seriousness, and we are looking at the expectedness. That means, was
Yes,
it known earlier, or is
or
it a
not.
new occurrence, or in terms of nature, or severity, or frequency of that event? So, if suppose the event was very mild in nature in the trials, and now suddenly I am starting to get very severe form of, say, earlier I was having rashes, but now
Okay.
I have started to observe in almost every other patient, almost second patient that I receive, Steven Johnson syndrome. So will it be a serious case?
Yes, previously we don't know about the Steven Johnson syndrome. It is an unexpected event happened,
Hmm. Yeah.
so it
So
is a
in
serious
terms
case.
of, again, in terms of specificity, earlier what was known was general
Expected, yes.
rashes. Yeah.
That
And now
was
that what we know is, it is more specific in
more
nature, it is
specific.
more severe in nature. Yes. So it is
Yeah.
severe and also suspected. Very good. Right. And it has to be related. Otherwise, we will not be reporting that. So SUSAR criteria
Yes,
in
sir.
US, Europe has to be met. India, are we
Yes.
following the SUSAR criteria? Just one more minute. Let me admit Preeti and then, yeah, Krishna, just a second.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Hmm. I think she hasn't joined. Yeah. So let's continue. So India, are we required to? I think she is joining in. Preeti, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, yes, sir.
Preeti, can you please wait for another 2 minutes? I'm just about to get over with Krishna's discussion.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So Preeti, okay. Krishna. So I was asking you, India, is there a requirement to report SUSARs, or what do we report in India?
In India also we report the SUSAR. We follow the Uppsala monitoring and regulatory authorities also.
We are following the Uppsala Monitoring Center assessment, but we are not reporting SUSARs. We are
Okay, sir.
reporting SAEs. Okay,
Okay, sir.
SAEs. And SAE would mean a event. So
Event.
relationship is not mandatory for the authority.
Okay,
Why
sir.
so? Why they do not want it is because India, there is no reporting culture. People
Yeah.
do not report events, right? So
Yes,
to
sir.
make sure that nothing goes amiss, or a company or a reporter doesn't keep the info to himself thinking that it may not be related, so the authority says, don't worry about the relationship, still give us anything which is serious and unexpected, even if it is not a reaction. If it's an event, still send it to us.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
clear on this criteria?
Yes, sir.
Again, this is for for trial products. For marketed products, you always have the implied causality. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So it doesn't really matter, because in marketed products, you are always saying that it is related. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The reporter, if he is saying, if he is coming to you, giving you a case, that means he is doubting the relationship. Okay. Now, what is a aggregate report?
Sorry, sir, I forgot that.
Okay. What about periodic report? Have you heard of a periodic report?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
The periodic report, we are continuously we are getting the updates about that report, and we periodically update that safety report to the authorities.
Hmm. Right. So we submit it periodically. Again, aggregate reports are same. Ajit, can you please wait for another 5 minutes? I think more than 5 minutes. It would be 10 minutes, because after Krishna, I have the next candidate, right? So please join in after 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah, Krishna. So I was
Yes, sir.
saying that aggregate reports are again done as per a period. So that is why you call
Okay.
them as periodic reports also. Okay. And you
Okay,
are
sir.
assessing individual cases in that. Now, I was asking you, so periodic report, what are the types of periodic reports that you can have? US, Europe, do we have any specific format of report? Have you heard of the PBRER?
Yes, sir. Periodic benefit risk evaluation report.
So PBRER is submitted where? Is it in Europe or in US?
So it is in US.
PBRER is Europe. Yes,
Okay,
Krishna.
sir.
Okay,
Okay.
and what about US? US, we have a report called as PADR, Periodic Adverse
Okay,
Drug
sir.
Experience Report.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that again, what is the difference between the two? If somebody asks you, have you read about it?
No, sir.
Go through that. I would
Okay,
advise
sir.
you to read it again. Again,
Yes, sir.
PBRER and PADR differ in durations. In sorry, once again. So they differ in duration. They differ in the timelines.
Okay, sir.
The format is also a bit different. Okay. Uh, sorry, just a moment. Yeah. So I was saying
Yes, sir.
the format is a bit different. Also, the period covered is different, and the timelines for submission are different.
Okay,
So
sir.
read these. These are important. These will be asked for sure when you are entering in the industry. These are
Okay, sir.
important. Again, you are clear with the timelines for individual cases. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
Yes, sir.
fatal and life-threatening cases from trials. What is the timeline to submit?
For within 7 days.
Within 7 days. And for all others, all other
Uh,
serious
for
events,
for the all other serious events, it is the 15 days.
Hmm. Yes, very good. And for marketed products, it is 15 days.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Market.
Hmm. Okay, good. Good, Krishna. So
Yes,
keep
sir.
up your good work and all the best to you for your future endeavors, right?
Thank you, sir.
And I look forward to having more interactions with you in future. But for now, I would advise you to focus more on the other aspects of pharmacovigilance, like aggregate reports,
Yes, sir.
also signal management. Are you clear on the signal management aspects?
Not much, sir.
Hmm.
I will read that also.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
again, for causality assessment, what are the scales that we use most commonly?
For the causality assessment, we use the WHO scale, then Cassinger scale,
Mhm.
then that imputability scale,
Yes, and most commonly used are again WHO, UMC. You are
WHO
right.
EMC scale,
Yeah, and then which else?
then this Sweden's the
If you would go through, you would find that NGO scale is most commonly used. The other
yes, sir.
scale,
Naranjo scale is also
Naranjo scale. So why Naranjo scale has a disadvantage over WHO? Why we don't use
yeah.
Naranjo scale?
There are 10 questionnaires, and sometimes that at the end of the causality assessment, there is some false report was produced.
Hmm.
That was their disadvantage.
Yeah, so one thing is that consistency is there with Naranjo, but the problem is that because these scales will, prevent any difference of opinion clinically, because in WHO criteria we can apply clinical judgment, but in
Yes, sir.
case of Naranjo, these are fixed set of questions for which you are giving answers and scales are given. So you have
Yes, sir.
grading system 1, 2, 0, or -1. So these kind of numbers, scores are given, and then it adds up to a total. So if the total is anywhere more than 5, right? So 1 to 4
Yes, sir.
is again
The
it says
probably.
probably related, right?
Yes, sir.
1 to
Yes, sir.
4 is probable. So, but anything above that, that means from 5 onwards,
So above, it is
would
definite.
become related, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is why Naranjo, we cannot really rely, because one thing is there is a question which says that did the event appear immediately after the drug was given? Okay. So that answer, will it be yes or no? Most of the times it will be yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If I take a medicine and I have a reaction, most of the time it will be yes, right? So then
Yes, sir.
what happens is, if it is yes, that means I will have +2 rating. So if it becomes +2, that would mean it becomes yes,
Causally.
possibly, probably related to that event. Yes. Okay. So
Yes,
I
sir.
cannot call it for sure that it is not related. Okay. So that is a
Okay, sir.
problem. It has some biasness in Renjo, plus it has other criteria. Okay. So all the best, Krishna. Right now, I think
Thank you, sir.
you can log off, right?
Yes. Thank
And
you, sir.
okay, you continue your good work and keep reading the topics.
Okay,
And
sir.
all the best to you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye. Uh, I see Preeti has just joined. Preeti.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Preeti. Can you please just wait for a second? Let me allow Gayatri and let her know that I'm going to conduct for you. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Gayatri, can you hear me?
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Gayatri, can you please wait for another maybe 20 minutes? It is right now 3:10. Okay, I have after Preeti, Ajit, and then
Okay.
your number will come. We are still behind a few minutes. I would say.
Okay, sir, sure.
Okay. So you can join by right now it's 3:10. So join by 3:30. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Uh, Preeti, am I
Yes, sir.
audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Preeti, can you please switch on your camera uh, so that
Yes, yes, sir.
yeah. Preeti, can you please introduce yourself? Tell me about yourself. Why are you interested in pharmacovigilance? What educational background you have? And why do you feel pharmacovigilance is important?
Okay, sir. So I'm Dr. Preeti Podia, and I'm a BDS graduate, and I just want to know about the pharmacovigilance, and I want to work in this field, and I think this is a very need we have need to pharmacovigilance, because pharmacovigilance is identification of the adverse drug reactions. Uh, in pharmacovigilance, we can avoid the drug interactions. We can manage the safety of medicines. Um,
Mhm.
that's it. Uh,
We can
pharma-
manage the safety of the medicine. So, how does it help if I am reporting events, collecting events? How will it help?
so it will save for the population. It will save when we use pharmacovigilance
Hmm.
in the market. And so could you please repeat that question?
So, I said, what is
Yes,
the
sir.
benefit of doing pharmacovigilance? Why would we do pharmacovigilance?
Okay, sir. So to avoid drug interactions, to to
Okay, you continue, Preeti. Ajit, I am still continuing with Preeti. Please wait. Yeah. Okay.
so pharmacovigilance is for monitoring of the safety of a drug, both old and new, throughout its use. So
Hmm.
that's why we need pharmacovigilance.
Okay. Now I will give you another different perspective, and then you can let me know, Preeti.
Okay,
Do you
sir.
think that if I know of a event, I can manage it better? I'll be able to take precautions against it. I'll be able to advise my patient also as a clinician that okay, don't take this medicine because this might trigger your reaction, or you have a risk when you're taking this medicine. Say, for instance, these issues of blood clot related deaths which were happening with the COVID-19 vaccination. Yes. So now this has been put in the label. So will it not be beneficial if I know about it already as a patient, because I am at risk of developing, I am a heart patient. I already have clot issues. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
sir.
so will it not help in taking decision that whether I should go for this vaccination or not?
So it will definitely help if we know about the drugs precautions, if we know about the drug reactions, if we know about the drug adverse reaction, the events. It will help for us. And if we talk about the COVID-19 vaccines, then we know about the it will if any risk in the heart patients or not. If we know the precautions now, then we can save we can
That person. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
we can save
Yeah.
the person.
So, like I always say that, and this is true for that fact that, unless you know the risks, you cannot handle them.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So, that is the response to pharmacovigilance. If someone says, why do we do pharmacovigilance? It's because if we know the risks, we'll be in a better position to handle them. Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So if
Yes,
I
sir.
know what are my concerns coming up from a drug, I will know what measures I need to take, whether it is any risk management planning, or I need to update my label and inform the doctor to take
Yes, sir.
precautions or warnings, right? If it is causing teratogenicity, I am giving a warning. I am saying that don't give it to women who are having childbearing potential because
Yes, sir.
it can cause birth defects in newborn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm doing is I'm trying to prevent the occurrence. Yes,
Yes, sir.
by doing
Yes.
this. So
Yes,
that is
sir.
the purpose of pharmacovigilance. Other than that, it also safeguards the interest of the company. Whether it is financial interests, that means, if there is a lawsuit or a issue happening with the product, and patients
Yes.
can file legal cases, right? So
Yes, sir.
if I am updating and informing in time, I am protecting my company from those litigations, from those suits. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And I am also
Yes, sir.
saving
Yes,
the
sir.
reputation of the company by acting in time. Otherwise, it will also spoil the image, and that can also lead to losses in terms of my share market, my holding. Yes.
Yes,
Because
sir.
if a bad word spreads around in the market, companies are adversely affected.
Yes.
Recalls have been one of the major issues where the company image has been spoiled. And then they
Yes,
were
sir.
not just affected with that particular product, but other products also, when their overall sales went down because their
Yes,
reputation
sir.
was hit, right? So that is
Yes,
also
sir.
one of the reasons, right?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Then, what is the difference between a reaction and an event when I ask you?
So, react is adverse drug event is it's a relationship between casual link between the drug. So, it's not a link between the drug, but in case the adverse drug reaction, it is a casual link with the drug. Like
Okay.
adverse,
Uh,
yes,
Preeti, I would
like
again, I would again remind you the word is causal. Okay. It is derived
okay,
from causing. Okay. So remember to use it as causal and not casual. Casual
okay,
is
sir.
I am very casual about it. Okay. So the right
Okay,
word to be used is
causal.
causal, right?
Okay,
Okay.
okay, sir.
So causal
Okay, sir.
relationship is what you should mention. Ajit, another few minutes. Thank you. Yeah. So causal relationship would mean that there is a relationship of the drug with the event. Yes. And that is what
Yes,
is
okay,
the
sir.
difference between a reaction and an event. So you are right
Ye-
on the concept, but remember the word. Because in the interview, if you say this, they will say you are not aware. You do not know what is the difference between causality and casuality. Casuality is actually a different meaning. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
casualty,
So,
where is it used? Have you heard casualty somewhere?
yes, sir. So casualty is a relationship between the suspected product and the adverse drug event.
No, but that is causality. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, sir. Casualty.
I am saying casualty is used in emergency wards. You would have read on the heading somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, sir.
Yes. Yes or no?
Okay.
Yeah, Preeti.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
calm
sir.
down and listen to what I am saying. Okay, there is
Okay, sir.
just a difference of the usage of the word, and I am apprising you of this now, because when you will face your real interview, this is
Yes,
something
sir.
that they will ask you definitely for sure. Okay, what is the
Okay,
difference
sir.
between the ADR and the event? And then you would use this word, and then you will get stuck because they will try to drag it along. I am not doing that because I
Okay,
am your
sir.
trainer, and I
Okay,
am,
sir.
trying to apprise you of the right terminology.
Okay,
Okay,
sir. Okay,
okay.
sir.
So you are clear on this concept.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then next, uh, once you are knowing about the relationship, so what kind of cases do you expedite? Which cases are expedited in trials? In clinical trials, when we are doing trials, what kind of cases do you need to expeditedly report to the authority?
Uh,
Yeah.
sir, regarding there any drug
Okay. Preeti, just 1 second. I
okay,
think
sir.
someone else is joining. Raj Bahadur, is that you? Raj Bahadur, can you hear me? Okay, am I audible to you? So if he is not able to hear me, probably I can. Raj Bahadur, can you unmute yourself? No?
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Raj Bahadur, please wait for another 10 minutes. I will invite you, or you can join after 10 minutes.
Okay,
There
sir.
are other people before you. Yeah,
Okay.
you can leave for now. Thank you.
So
Okay.
if any subject here, if any patient have an allergy, any type of drug, then we can
Mhm.
report that.
Yes, we will report that. Again, expeditedly, what you report, remember, is SUSAR criteria. Do you recall, Preeti? SUSARs?
Yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
are SUSARs?
Sir, it's a suspected, unexpected, serious adverse reactions.
Hmm. So, in US and in Europe, we are required to
Yes.
submit in trials SUSARs, right?
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
SUSARs are expeditedly reported. That means urgently reported. The other non-serious cases, you have more time. They are going in your PSURs. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So expeditedly, what is going? If somebody asks you, don't confuse.
Okay,
Expedited
sir.
reporting is SUSARs. Okay, or
Okay,
SAEs
sir.
in India. India, what is the
Okay.
reporting requirement? SAEs. Why is it
Okay.
SAE? Why do they want only events? Why not reactions?
So, so events is causally linked with a drug. That's why. No. Sorry, sir. So
No,
I'm
because
listening.
okay, okay, relax, relax. Listen to me,
Okay,
Preeti.
sir.
Why in India they don't need events? Oh, sorry, reactions and only events is because there is no culture of reporting in India. So people don't report, and if you are not even reporting the events,
Okay,
then
sir.
they will go amiss. Okay, nobody will know. Authority will not know. So they are saying, don't worry about the causality. We will do the assessment. You give us all the unexpected and serious cases.
Okay,
Okay,
sir. Okay, sir.
from trials. So relationship is not important for them. What is more
Okay,
important
sir.
is again
If
the unexpected and serious
if
events. Okay, and now
yes, sir.
seriousness criteria, are you aware?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. So
Preeti?
any so death, life-threatening, hospitalization, any congenital anomaly, it just comes in
Mhm.
seriousness.
Mhm. Any other criteria that you left out?
Yeah, sir. One left out, but I didn't remember.
Okay, go slow so you will remember. One is life threat, death or fatal, life threatening. Then you have hospitalization,
Hospitalization.
which is prolonged or required, either of the two. Yes. So either
Yes,
you
sir.
need to admit the patient or the patient is staying for a longer duration in the hospital. He has to stay for more period now because of the
Yes,
reaction.
sir.
Okay. Then
Yes, sir.
either persistent or significant disability. Yes.
Yes, sir.
You missed out on that point. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Disability
sir.
is important. Don't forget
Okay,
it.
sir.
In Pfizer trial, patients had facial palsy, but it was reversible. If it
Yes,
was
sir.
not reversible, if it was persistent, it would have become serious.
Seriousness.
Okay.
Yes,
Because
sir.
it was not persisting, because it was not significant, it reversed after stopping the drug. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
then it was considered as non
No
serious.
seriousness. Yes, sir.
Got it?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And then you have congenital anomaly, birth defects. Very good. The last point was again medically significant.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Medically significant in terms of nature, severity, frequency, occurrence.
Frequency.
Anything that happens will be considered as a serious event, and the IME list, important medical events. Okay. Where is that
Yes, sir.
published? It is published by EMA.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Preeti. So
Yes,
I
sir.
would again thank you for your time and put some more effort in learning these concepts of relationship, causality, right?
Okay,
And
okay, sir.
also look at aggregate reports, what type of reports you have aggregate in the
Okay, sir.
pre-marketed and the post-marketed phase. That means in the trial phase and the post-marketed phase. So what are the
Okay, sir.
aggregate reports? So you should go through these types of reports like DSUR, PSUR, right?
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Okay.
Brush up your concepts and best of luck for your future.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, sir. Okay, thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. And take care. Bye. Bye for now. You can leave now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Hi, Ajit. Thank you for your patience. I was actually running behind almost two candidates. So that is why I had to ask you to wait. Okay. So let's start the session today. Quickly introduce me to yourself and your educational background. What are your interests? Why do you want to pursue a career in pharmacovigilance? Are you already educationally doing some course on pharmacovigilance? Okay. And eventually, what is the benefit? Why are we doing pharmacovigilance? So quickly, yeah. Can't hear you. Maybe if you can unmute yourself. Yeah, Ajit. Hello.
Hello, sir.
I think Ajit, if you join from two places, there will be a echo. Maybe one of the
Okay.
yeah one of this you can mute.
Yes, yes, yes. Now clear?
Yes, better.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Were
Good
you able
afternoon,
to hear
sir.
my queries? Were you able to hear my
Yes, yes.
queries?
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes,
please
sir.
go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ajit. I am from Solapur. So, I have completed my B Pharmacy from Mumbai University in 2018. And talking about my family background, there are five members in my family: me, my two brothers, and mother and father. So, firstly, currently I am learning the PG diploma in pharmacovigilance and clinical research. So, basically, I am interested in pharmacovigilance because this field is very relevant to my career, my degree, and I am very interested in pharmacovigilance because there are some challenge. This is the challenging job. Pharmacovigilance is a challenging job wherein we can detect the adverse reactions and of the particular drug
Hmm.
to check the safety check the safety and the adverse reactions to the particular drug before introduced in the market.
Right. So safety and yes, they are important, and you need
Yes,
to
sir.
look for them. It is good to know that you are interested in pharmacovigilance. Again, one thing that I wanted to understand was how will it be beneficial if you know about the adverse reactions and you are able to notify it to the authority. So, what benefit will you draw out of it?
So once we know the adverse reaction of that drug, so we can try to minimize that adverse reaction to develop a good life or good health for people.
Hmm. Yes. So the answer to it again can be worded very simply as unless you know the risks, you cannot handle them. Yes. So
Yes.
yeah, so the benefit of reporting these events is that we are able to notify of those upcoming risks to the health authorities, to the general public, to the healthcare professionals, so that they can take their own clinical judgment on whether to continue with the treatment or to take any necessary precautions while using that product, so as to prevent any harm. That is the intent. Yes. So pharmacovigilance, why we are doing it is to prevent any kind of harm. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think Gayatri had joined in between. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Okay. So what is the difference between an adverse event and a reaction? Yes, Ajit.
Uh, Adverse reaction, basically the adverse reaction is a reaction when the particular treatment drug or a suspect drug taken in a proper dosage manner. So when there is in some reactions like nausea, vomiting, so these are the adverse reactions. And adverse events are mm,
Unintended. Are they intended? Do you expect them to happen?
yes.
Is it an untoward occurrence? Is it an untoward medical occurrence? Yes, Ajit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is an untoward medical occurrence. It is something that you never expected to happen, but it happened. Yes. Now
Yes, that is the
it may or may not be related to your drug. Yeah.
yes, that is the
So the
adverse event.
difference, yeah. So event and reaction, the difference is the causality, or as we call it as causal relationship. Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. Okay. Now, when I say causal relationship, so what is the most commonly used criteria to do causal relationship? Which criteria is used? What is the method used for causality assessment? Any scale that we use? Any rating system that we use?
no, sir, no idea.
No idea.
Causality,
Have you heard of WHO UMC criteria?
yes, yes, yes. Uppsala Monitoring Center, World
Hmm.
Healthcare Organization,
Yeah.
Uppsala Monitoring Center.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, yes.
So WHO UMC criteria is used to assess medically and do a causal relationship. So it looks at re-challenge, it looks at de-challenge.
D challenge, yes,
Yeah. What is
yes.
re-challenge?
Re-challenge is a reintroduce of that suspect drug again,
Hmm.
and to check whether the same adverse reactions are happened at the as same at the time of first introduction, first
Hmm.
administration of that drug. That is the
Yeah.
re-challenge.
So if it is a positive re-challenge, it would give a suggestion that the drug may have caused it. Yes.
Yes, sir.
It is
Yes.
supporting our, again, hypothesis. So remember, this is a work, causality is a work of hypothesis. Whatever we do,
Hypothesis.
we are trying to again come to a conclusion based on whatever evidences we have. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So our science, again, we call pharmacovigilance as the science, yeah, of
Yes, sir.
detection, assessment. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So science is based on evidences. Whatever areas we are collecting are our evidences, right?
Yes.
And
Yes, sir.
again, in those cases, if the causality is there, if we have evidence of re-challenge, de-challenge, temporal relationship, that means the time of onset of the reaction after the drug is given. Okay. So
Yes.
all those latency, as you call it. So all these criterias are looked at when we are doing causal relationship,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So remember this point, brush up on these a bit again on causal relationship. Now, expeditedness, next point that I want to ask you. Expeditedness, how do you know which cases you need to expedite? Which are the cases that you need to expedite or urgently
Serious
submit?
events. serious, those cases are having a serious adverse reactions.
Serious adverse reaction, is it? So in trials, in clinical trials, what cases are reported to the authority on an expedited basis?
Those cases which leads to the death.
Yeah. So that is serious cases you are saying. But what are the other criteria other than seriousness? What else do you need to look at to report a case? Gayatri, another few minutes. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
You can log off. Okay. Yes, Jeet.
Mm,
What criteria can be there? Okay. SUSARs, have you heard of? Ajit, have you heard of
what, sir?
SUSAR? SUSAR?
SUSAR. No, sir.
No, you haven't heard of the term SUSAR? You have heard of the term SAE? Yes or
Serious
no?
adverse events.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So serious adverse event is applicable in India. US and Europe, you are not looking at SAE. You are looking at suspected, unexpected, serious adverse reaction. SUSAR.
Okay.
Okay. So suspected is you have a doubt that you have a relationship. Again, unexpected. So unexpected is it was not known earlier. It is a new thing which is happening either in terms of occurrence or in terms of nature or severity or frequency. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is unexpected. And then serious, you know, the criteria you were saying death, life threatening. Yeah. What are the other criteria for seriousness? Yes, Ajit.
Life threatening, sir.
Fatal, life threatening. You've covered these two. What other cases do you think will be serious?
Those cases are which are not able to cured after the adverse reactions.
Do you
Non-curable.
okay, now I will give you the options and you have to answer. So do you think admission in a hospital will be a seriousness criteria?
No, sir.
No. Or required hospitalization or prolonged hospitalization?
Yes.
Yes. So that is what I told you. Admission in the hospital. It is requiring hospitalization. Okay.
Hospitalization for
Anything.
longer.
Yeah. Anything or required hospitalization. You were not there in the hospital earlier, but now you are required to be admitted. So even that becomes a serious case. Okay. Okay, Ajit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So remember these criteria, and one is the next criteria is permanent or significant disability. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if there was a report of facial paralysis in Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccination, okay, but it was reversible in nature. It stopped after the drug was stopped, right? It did not persist. It did not stay permanently. So it is not a serious event. But if it was persistent or it would have stayed, then it would have become serious.
Yes, sir.
Okay, clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this is the fourth criteria. Then what else do you have? You remember congenital anomaly, thalidomide tragedy?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is the fifth criteria for seriousness. Then the sixth criteria is medically significant. That means the treating doctor or the physician or the reporter feels that that event which has happened is medically significant. That means either it has changed in terms of what we were discussing, occurrence or nature or severity or frequency. So earlier in my trials, I found the event was very mild in nature. But now I am getting a very severe event in marketed phase. So it becomes a serious event. Okay, clear on this concept?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And there is a IME list. Have you heard of a IME list?
Mm,
Important medical event list. Yeah.
no, sir.
Please wait. Your turn will take another 10 minutes. Yeah. Yes, Ajit.
Important medical.
Events. IME list. Okay. So all those events, like I can give you examples. Anaphylaxis. You have heard of anaphylaxis?
Yes,
Yes.
anaphylaxis. Yes.
What is anaphylaxis? Suddenly, there is a severe form of reaction. The body responds to this trigger from outside and everything shuts down. So, all your systems fail. All system organ classes, like your cardiac system, your respiratory system, all systems will fail. And that can lead to death. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
sir.
there are many other examples in that IME list. Even COVID-19 pneumonia, I remember
Pneumonia.
telling
Yes.
in my sessions, I don't know if this was covered for you in by your trainer, but then remember that all the latest events are added in this IME list. Okay, so this is
Okay.
updated by EMA, European Medicine
Okay.
Agency. Okay,
Okay, sir.
and is
Okay.
available with the latest Medra version. So whenever you want to download, you can download it from the EMA website and
Okay.
refer to it, see whatever has been reported, is it given in that list? If yes, then it automatically becomes a serious event.
Okay.
Okay, clear on this
Okay.
concept also?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
brush up on these concepts of causality, brush up on, because these will be asked in a regular interview. I am guaranteeing you that these are important
Okay.
concepts. Again, WHO UMC criteria. Have you heard of Naranjo scale?
Yes, sir.
Naranjo scale. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So where is that used? Why will we use Naranjo scale if you have WHO criteria? These can be
To
questions asked.
calculate the risk of the drug.
So risk of the trust that we are doing, causality is what we are trying to do with these scales. There are different ways to do causality. I will just explain it to you. So you can do it by medical assessment called as global introspection. Okay. So where you
Okay.
are analyzing the case based on the medical information in the case. Okay. Then we can
Okay.
also use scales. So like the WHO UMC is one of the scales. Okay, where it
Okay.
will categorize into related and not related by unclassifiable, probable, possible, yes, definite.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how it will categorize. Now similarly in Naranjo scale, there is a rating given, there is a value for every question
Okay.
asked, yes or no, or not applicable. You have to rate and give a scale of either, if yes, then +2, if no, then maybe 0, at times maybe -1. Okay, so depending
Okay.
upon this, if you get a rating of anything which is 0, that means it is doubtful, it is not related. If it is 1 to 4, that means it is probably related. We are not sure, but it can be. The basis is not clear. If it is above 4, that means 5. Okay, so then it
Okay.
becomes possibly related, and then 7 above to 9, it becomes definitely or related. Okay, so this is again
Okay.
a rating system used, where you will have numbers given for answers. 10 questions are there. For all those 10 questions you have rating.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Ajit. So please go
Yes.
through these points. These are very important. Again, aggregate reports. Are you clear on the aggregate reports, Ajit? What are
Aggregate
aggregate reports?
reports. No, sir.
Aggregate reports or periodic reports. We also call them as periodic reports. So they are done over a
Okay.
period of time. All your ICSRs. ICSRs stand for
Individual case safety report.
case safety reports. So all these
Yes.
ICSRs are reviewed over a period of time, depending upon the region, like US or Europe. So in Europe, you
Okay.
have a PBRER. In US, you have a PADER. Okay. different requirements. Again, this is for the marketed reports. For pre-market, the pre-marketed or the trial reports, you have DSURs, yes, which are annual reports. So you have to prepare them annually. There is a defined period. For marketed products, again, there is a different requirement. So you can go through these and the timelines for submission. So these are important. They will ask you. Okay. TSURs, submission timelines, scheduling, all these you should know. Right? And signal detection. Again, what are the various methods used for signal detection? Okay. Read all these things. And like I said, individual case, you should know causality assessment, you should know expeditedness, you should know the reporting criteria for cases, timelines, 7 days, 15 days. What are 7 days timeline used for in trials? Fatal life-threatening events. Yeah, you only told fatal life-threatening, right?
Yes.
Okay, so remember this.
Yeah.
Okay, and all the best to you, Ajit, and you continue your good work. Keep reading more and more, and you will be able to perform better.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Best of luck for your future. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. We'll connect later.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Bye.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Gayatri. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Gayatri, can you please switch on your camera?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you, Gayatri. Can you please introduce yourself? Tell me about your qualifications. Why are you interested in pharmacovigilance? What do you feel is your reason for pursuing this career in pharmacovigilance?
Sure, sir. First, to start with who I am, I'm Dr. Gayatri Menon. I've just started with I'm halfway through my internship after my BDS. So I'm basically a dentist and I'm going for my consultations as well, side by side with my internship. And what attracted me to pharmacovigilance is actually a long story with a little personal side to it, as well as interest to it. Besides practicing and a world with patients, I'd also like to venture a little into the corporate world. And my dad, he works for Novartis. So growing up itself, I've seen a lot about how pharma firms work, how things go about it. So it's always been interesting when he shares things about what happens around in his company, how does his regulatory work, how everything works around. So it's been very interesting to me from the beginning itself, from the start itself. So since I got to know that people who have a background in life sciences can also venture into this, so I was very happy because it's something which interests me and I've also been qualified for it. So both at the same time, it came as a really good news for me. So that's why I'd like to venture into pharmacovigilance. And of course, I think it's a great return we're doing to the society as well. It's not just about releasing drugs and releasing medicines and releasing new products. We also need to know about how it's affecting people. Because as far as I know, around the third most common reason for deaths in UK was drug adverse events. So being able to be a part of controlling that, I think it's a great honor and it's a great thing. So that's why I'd like to venture into pharmacovigilance.
Right. Very good. Very good. I am really pleased to hear your interest in pharmacovigilance. Again, what do you feel is the purpose behind collecting all these events, reactions? How would they help? So if we are reporting them to the authority, what is the benefit of reporting them? How will it be useful?
Okay. So I think since in clinical trial phase, it's been conducted on a very limited number of people. So we can't really be sure about how it will affect a mass population unless and until the post-marketing surveillance happens. And that is what this is all about. So unless and until we collect reports after it's released, we don't really get a clear picture about how it's affecting people. There can also be a case like if the adverse event occurs in 1 out of a lakh or 10 lakh people, that goes unseen in the clinical trial phase. That can only be seen in collecting reports after the marketing. That's post-marketing surveillance. So it's important to know everything that happens to the drug. I mean, it's not just about how it affects a few thousands of people. It's all about how it affects an entire population. Every life matters. Every human matters. Every person has a family of his own, a whole life of his own. So nothing should go wrong because of the drug we administer. So it's very important to know about the effects and collecting reports afterwards.
Yes, yes. And more than that, does it also have any implications on the image of the company, on the financial aspects in some way, with these stricter regulations around and authorities now being very vigilant about reactions with past experiences of, tragedy of thalidomide or
Sure.
sulfanilamide tragedy? Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir. I totally agree with you.
what kind of financial implications can they have? If I do not do pharmacovigilance, how will it impact my finances, or can it have a bearing on my uh, sales? Anything that
Yes,
you
sir.
think?
Yes, sir. To quote an example, there was a very recent drug which was released by Novartis itself. I can't really recall the exact name. I'm really sorry about that. That drug
Okay.
was withdrawn from the market after they conducted their own clinical trial after the marketing. It was doing well in the market, it was doing fine in the market, but then they conducted a clinical trial after this to prove that this is a very effective drug. But then, as a result of that, they had to withdraw the drug. This is a negative impact, but if it was happening in the positive sense, post marketing surveillance can actually prove the benefit risk ratio, which is a very important aspect. So that once the regulatory authorities and all are convinced about the positives of the drug and the benefit risk ratio, that it's more beneficial than the amount of risk it causes, it can financially boost the drug. It can
It
boost
can,
the
and it
market of
can,
the drug,
it
which
can
can
also, can
indirectly.
it also, have you heard of the legal cases or the litigation cases which are done by the consumers? Any
Yes,
legal
yes,
cases which
suing
are there?
the.
Yeah, lawsuits.
Nothing I can recall of right now.
Okay, so there are a lot of lawsuits which have been filed. I think we've covered this in our initial introduction part
Yes, sir,
in the
but I can't
sessions.
recall of an
You
example. Yes, sir.
can go through and brush them up. Again,
Sure, sir.
what is important in these is, uh, like I said, pharmacovigilance. Many of these drugs had caused deaths, right? Like you were saying. So when they started to market, rofecoxib is one of those examples you would have heard.
Right, sir.
Pain, COX-2 inhibitor. Again, this was noted to cause deaths, and suddenly Merck had to recall their product. Because of that, their market fell sharply. Because of the recall, their image
Right,
was
sir.
spoiled, reputation spoiled. Not just that product, it spoils the other products also.
Yes,
Because
sir. The
when,
entire.
as a consumer, you can also understand if you are buying a product from a company and you get to know their products are being recalled because of safety, then you may be wary of the other products also and think, okay, I should not take these or not buy these, right? So it also
Yes, sir.
adversely
Trust issues.
affects their sales, right? So this is one of
Yes,
the
sir.
reasons. Very good. Now, when I was saying pharmacovigilance, so why do we call it as a science? Is it something to do with uh, some experiments that we do? What are we doing with medicine? that we call it a science. Why is pharmacovigilance a science?
Okay, pharmacovigilance, the name itself is derived from pharmaco, which is medicinal, and vigilance, which is to keep a close watch of, vigilant, alert, all of that. So, as WHO has defined pharmacovigilance, and as Sir mentioned, it's science and activities relating to the assessment. Um,
Detection, assessment.
Yes, sir. Assessment, understanding, detection, and analysis of the adverse
Yes.
events of drugs.
Yes.
So, since we look into the technical side of the drugs, we can define it
Hmm.
as a science.
Hmm. So our overall objective is to prevent disease, to prevent any
Prevent
reactions,
any
yeah,
adverse or
any
any.
adverse drug reactions.
Yes,
And
sir.
so the intent of doing this is by collecting evidence. So our science is science because it is evidence based, right?
Okay, sir.
Science is always evidence based. We
Yes,
don't
sir.
believe in anything without having an evidence to it. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
True, sir.
So,
Yeah.
and we have a hypothesis whenever we do a causal relationship, whenever we do a assessment of a relationship of a drug and an event, we hypothesize that it may be because there is a positive D challenge, there is a positive re challenge. Yes, there are
Right,
no
sir.
other underlying disease conditions. So we are meeting a lot of criteria to come up to a conclusion. Yes. Okay.
Right,
That is
sir.
why we always say pharmacovigilance
It's a
is a
science.
science. Right.
Right, sir.
Clear on the concept. Right. Now,
Yes,
what
sir.
is the
Thank you.
difference when I say between reaction, adverse reaction, and an event?
Okay, actually, when you see it as a whole picture, adverse drug reaction can be said to be a subset of adverse drug event. Adverse drug event is any untoward medical condition or medical proceeding which happens to the patient, which can be or cannot be related to the suspected drug. The causality is in question in that case. But in the case of adverse drug reaction, we know it for sure that the noxious effect is definitely due to the drug administered of the suspected drug. So, any adverse drug reaction is an adverse drug event, but every adverse drug event is not an adverse drug reaction.
Right. Very good. Okay. So, what are the other examples that you can think of? Say, a event, just a very common example, anything that comes to your mind for an event?
Okay, any accident a person undergoes, meets
A
with an,
road
if a
accident.
person meets with an accident that may not be related to the drug, because accidents can happen, it can be a road accident. It's nowhere related to the drug, but it results in death of the patient. So it's an adverse event, but it's not an adverse drug reaction.
Hmm. Because the causality cannot be ascertained. Okay.
Yes.
Again, I give you a scenario. Suppose I was taking a medicine uh, and antibiotic, and suddenly it caused a lot of hair loss for me. And I've been losing hairs. I took the medication for 4 days. Right. I was earlier on a therapy of minoxidil. I've had some issues in the past for hair loss, but now that I am taking this antibiotic, my hair loss has increased. And when I stopped to take the medicine, my hair loss improved. It didn't happen. It stopped. Okay. And then I went to my doctor. I told him that I am taking this medicine, antibiotic, but it's actually causing hair loss. So he said, I'll give you another medication. And I did not take that medicine again. Okay. Now, will it be a related event or an unrelated event?
From the context I've just heard, I think, sir, it's a related event.
Hmm. And what are your reasons for thinking that?
So, because if the patient previously has a therapy of minoxidil, and minoxidil is a drug given for alopecia, hair loss.
Hmm.
So, in that case, it had shown an improvement. The decline in the improvement was shown on administration of this drug, which is clear cut. And to add more to it, uh, it could have been a climatic change or anything else as well. But to add as an evidence that it is related, on
Could it be a
stopping the drug,
progression of the disease condition, Gayatri? Could it been the progression of the disease?
Right, sir. But then on stopping the drug, the
Yeah.
condition improved, right?
Yeah, so that is what I was trying to ask you. Okay, so what do we call that? Stopping of the drug, the condition improving?
Withdrawal.
Challenge? Is it a challenge?
Okay.
Is it a de-challenge? Is it a re-challenge? What is it?
Sir, I can't recall. I'm sorry.
Okay, challenge is when you introduce a medicine. De-challenge is when you stop a medicine. Re-challenge is when you again introduce the medicine. So now you tell me, what is this scenario? Is it a de-challenge or a re-challenge?
De-challenge.
Yeah.
It was a de-challenge.
It was a de-challenge because when I stopped the medication, the event stopped. Yes.
Yes.
So
Excuse, sir. I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
okay. So I was saying, yeah, I could hear you now.
Okay, sir.
I think the de-challenge is clear to you, right? Now the concept is very
Yes,
clear.
sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
And
thank you.
expeditedness, again, what cases do we expedite to the authority?
So,
On priority, which cases are sent to the authority? You call it as expedited reports. Okay.
okay,
So there are,
the regulate.
yeah, you go ahead.
If I'm right, there are 3 types of cases on which, with a different timeline. 7 days for life-threatening or death, fatal cases. 30 days for serious cases, and 90 days for non-serious cases. This is the regulatory timeline given.
You said fatal, life-threatening. How many days?
7 days.
7 days. It's in case of trial, is it?
So,
Is it in case of clinical trial reports, or is it for any kind of report?
so it's for it's a regulatory timeline. So it's in our
Again,
pharmacovigilance. Yes, sir.
it is a regulatory timeline, but for marketed or trial products, 7 days,
Market.
7 calendar days. 7 calendar days, fatal life-threatening event.
Yes, sir.
Which timeline is it?
Marketed products regulatory timeline.
No, it is a trial product regulatory timeline. Okay. In clinical trials, you are required to report fatal life-threatening events in 7 calendar days. For all other reports, okay, which are not fatal and life-threatening. So what are other serious reports which are not fatal life-threatening? Seriousness
Which requires
criteria.
hospitalization, which is congenital, which induces congenital deformities, which can
Congenital
lead
anomaly. Yeah.
to disability in the patient,
Yes.
or which can require a medical intervention or surgical intervention.
Yeah, so these are there, and you also have medically significant and important medical events IME list published by EMA.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And the 6 conditions. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So those 6 conditions are serious, and the first 2, that is fatal life-threatening, in trials are required to be reported in 7 calendar days. Again, you need to meet the SUSAR criteria in Europe and US. So what does SUSAR stand for?
Suspected, unexpected, serious adverse reaction.
Yes. So that means there are 3 criteria to be met. One is suspected test. It has to have a relationship, causal relationship. Okay. The other one is unexpected. That means it was not known earlier, either in terms of occurrence or in terms of nature, severity, frequency. Yes. And then you have, after this,
Serious
the other criteria is,
be serious event.
So seriousness. And seriousness we have discussed. Again, fatal life threatening, 7 calendar days. For all other serious events, it is 15.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm
And
really sorry about this
it's okay. And in
errors that
marketed
I'm
products,
making.
yeah. And in marketed products, it is 15 calendar days because these are not solicited by the company. These are not by a sponsor. They are given voluntarily. So you get 15 calendar days. Okay. And there is no differentiation in fatal, life threatening, any other seriousness. So they are just saying, and there is an implied causality, remember, in marketed products. Because if a reporter comes to you and says, I took your medicine and I had a reaction, why will he come to you unless he is doubting your drug? That means there is some relation. Yeah. So in
Yes.
marketed cases, implied causality is always there. We do perform the assessment, but the reporter causality is always taking a precedence. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Which is related. They are saying that it is related. Unless proven, we cannot call it as unrelated. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Now, trials and marketed products. We have covered these. Right. Expedited reports. What are aggregate reports?
Sir, I'm not very sure. So what happened is, I was
Okay.
actually I've been attending classes regularly since the past 2 weeks
No.
because I was practicing back in India, and I traveled here because I couldn't cope up both together. I
No
traveled to
problem.
Dubai. Now I'm on leave, so now I'm
Okay.
catching up on everything.
No
So
problem.
I'm really sorry for the
Again,
mistake.
aggregate reports or periodic reports are one and the same. So they are done over a
Okay,
period of time.
periodic reports.
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
periodic
I
reports,
remember.
what do we call PBRER? What is PBRER? Periodic benefit risk evaluation report.
Reports.
Okay. So brush up on these concepts of
Yes, sir.
PBRER, PSUR, DSUR. Again, DSUR will be for trial products.
Trial
Okay.
product, and the other
Yeah.
one for
And for marketed
PSUR.
products, you have these PSUR, PADER, and DSUR. Sorry, and PBRER. Okay. So those will be required to be again looked at. And otherwise, I think you are doing quite well. So keep reading your content.
Yes,
I would again wish you all the best for your future
thank
endeavors,
you, sir.
and
Thank you so
we'll
much.
connect again after this. But for now, keep reading these concepts on the reporting, because they will be
Sure, sir.
definitely asked, right? The timelines
Yes,
for
sir.
reporting, the timelines for again PSURs. So all that will be required, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so
Okay,
much,
that's it
sir.
for
Thank
now.
you. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, Raj Bahadur,
Hello.
can you hear me? Yeah, Raj
Yes, sir.
Bahadur, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, Raj
Hello.
Bahadur, I think mm, can you quickly tell me about yourself? Give me a brief introduction about yourself, your education, and why you are interested in a career in pharmacovigilance.
Okay. So myself Raj Bahadur Prajapati completed my B Pharma course in 2012 and from Rajiv Gandhi University and having experience of 8 years in as a senior pharmacist. Now I am working as a pharmacist uh, and currently I am appearing for the advanced, advanced postgraduate diploma in clinical research and pharmacovigilance. Because of the great opportunity in pharmacovigilance, uh, pharmacovigilance, that's why I am doing this course.
Right. Okay. And so, why do you think we are doing pharmacovigilance? What would be the benefit of doing it?
Because of the great opportunity in this field, and we are directly doing the invention, inventional drug and do their safety, efficacy, all these things about the drug. Because of that, I have more interest in this field.
Okay. Yes. But then, is does it also so give? Let me give you another perspective. So, does it also mean that not doing pharmacovigilance can result in some other losses to the company? Will it be some financial losses also? Not just
No,
ethically or requirement as per the safety, but is it also that it can result in some financial losses?
no, sir, no, sir,
It cannot.
no, sir.
So if I do not screen the reports and I don't report adverse events and patients die after taking my drug and they file a lawsuit against me. Okay. So will it not be a loss, financial loss to me as a company?
I think, sir, it is no loss because uh, if it will be happen, we can correct and we can modify our drug. We can do the another things to that drug, so we get the good efficacy or good safety of the patient.
Efficacy safety is another aspect. I am not denying it again when I say Rajbahadur that it has financial implications. One is you will be stopped from selling the product by the authority. So you have heard of withdrawals, right? You have
Yes,
heard of actions taken by the authority. So if the safety is not being followed and people are dying suddenly after taking a medicine, I am not reporting it on time. Okay, so that can lead to action from the authority. You have heard of in the COVID-19 vaccination, Germany and France and many other countries stopped the use of the drug. Yes.
yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So it can lead to actions by the authorities if not acted in time and if I do not report events in time. So pharmacovigilance plays important role for notifications and timely actions. Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So financially also it can impact the company. It can spoil the reputation of the company. If I am getting ADRs with my product and people are dying, and I am not reporting it, okay, and they get published in media or they get published elsewhere, they can impact my image as a company, and my sales will also go down. My share market can fall. My you know. Uh, uh,
compensation that I pay to the patients. So that will all be losses to me as a company. Yes. Okay. Now, what is the difference when I say between adverse event and an adverse reaction?
Adverse event is after taking the drugs, the unwanted reaction will occur. That is a adverse reaction.
So again, whenever there is a untoward occurrence, okay, Raj Bahadur, I think you will have to brush up on these concepts. Whenever there is a whenever there is a untoward occurrence that happens after the use of a medicine, which
Yes, sir.
may or may not be related to the drug, that is called as a event. Yes. So
Yes,
relationship may or may not be there. For example, if you recall, road accident, a person taking a medicine, going out and meeting with a road accident. Now he may even be admitted to the hospital, he may break his leg, he may have any injury. Yeah. But
yes,
now it may or may not be related to the drug. If the drug is causing sedation, then it can be related. But if it is not a sedating drug, then it may not be related. Yes. So
yes,
that
sir.
is a event because it is not expected. It is an untoward occurrence. But if I know that there is a relationship, then I can call it a reaction. Okay. So when I can establish the relationship with a drug of the event, then I will call it a reaction. So whatever is a reaction, okay, may not be again whatever is a event, okay, may not be a reaction, but whatever is a reaction would be a subset of a event, right? So it would be a event and then it has become a reaction because there is a relation. Okay. But not all events will be reactions because they may not be related to the drug. Okay, clear on this?
Yes,
Right. Okay, then are you aware of the expedited reporting? What is expedited reporting? Yeah,
um,
expedited reporting you haven't heard? Have you heard of SUSARs? No.
no,
Serious, unexpected, suspected, adverse reaction?
serious.
No.
I have heard
Heard? And
some
SAE? Have you heard of SAE? Serious adverse event? So where do we report serious adverse event?
to the
India, is there a requirement to report SAE?
yes, sir. Yeah, in, investigation.
Investigational trial products. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and what is the timeline for serious adverse event reporting?
Within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours for the investigator. Again, for the sponsor, what is the timeline?
Uh, uh,
14.
one day.
14 calendar days. For marketed products, yeah, it is
Uh,
15. But for trial products, it is 14.
14, sir.
Yeah. And there is no difference in the seriousness criteria. That means what are the seriousness criteria? Fatal, life
Serious
threatening,
treatment, death, disability,
hmm,
and
congenital anomaly,
normally usually like
birth,
in patient.
birth
So now,
defects, yeah, birth defects and congenital anomaly, and medically significant events. Yes.
yes, sir.
Yeah, so all these are criteria. Okay, Raj Bahadur, I still feel that you need to brush up on your concepts. Okay, nothing to worry, but you would definitely have to read, individual case report, timelines, submission requirements in US and Europe. Okay, US, Europe, you have SUSARs. Yeah,
Yes,
US, Europe, you have SUSARs. India, you have SAEs. And timelines again in trials is 7 calendar days for SUSARs in US and Europe, right?
Yes.
For fatal life threatening events. For all other events, you have 15 calendar days, right? Okay. So brush up on these. Okay. What about aggregate reports? What are aggregate reports? Are you aware?
Aggregate reports are in between the trials we are reporting.
Are they also called as periodic reports? Have you heard of periodic reports? Raj Bahadur, again, marketed products and trial products, there are different requirements for aggregate reports. So for trial products, you have DSURs. Have you heard of DSUR? Yeah, have you heard of the DSUR? Development Safety Update Report. Okay. So go through these concepts of DSUR, PSUR, PBRER, PADER. Okay, these are all aggregate reports, right? And then you have after this you have the signal detection. So signal detection, causality assessment. Okay, what rating do we use for doing causality assessment? Most commonly used criteria. Okay, have you heard of WHO UMC criteria?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that again is the most widely used WHO UMC. Okay, and there are other scales also. So they will ask you all these questions in the interview. You need to prepare yourself, Raj Bahadur, right? I would request you to brush up. Nothing to worry, you still have time. Brush up your concepts on individual cases, on aggregate reports, on signal detection, right? Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
Yeah, and all the best for your future. So I think we can end the session for now. Okay. Yeah, I'm audible to you. Okay.
yeah. Hello.
Yes, Raj Bahadur, I said so we can end the session for now, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, sir.
Okay, so brush up on your concepts again, and we'll meet up sometime later. But for now, you would have to focus on all these concepts. Clear your basics before this will be definitely asked in any of the interview rounds, right?
Okay.
Okay, okay, thank you. Bye for now.